Hello everyone, James Robor here, and I want to do a video titled Why I Love the United States of America. So I am an American. I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1974. So I'm 47 years old now, and I've spent the vast majority of my life in the United States. However, in December of 2004, I moved to Finland. And I then married my Finnish wife, Haiti, and I then proceeded to live in Finland all the way up until March of 2021. And then I moved back here in Indiana, and then my wife and kids followed me very shortly thereafter. So I spent quite a deal of time outside of the United States. So it gave me a good experience and a different perspective. And there were things that I learned to appreciate about the United States that maybe I didn't appreciate quite as much living in the United States. And then there were things that I realized that we don't have it all together, and it could be better, and there are some places in the world who are doing better in certain ways. So I did a video, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember the year, but it's been a while. And I did a video titled Why I Love Finland. At that time, I had been living in Finland for quite a long time, at least 10 years. And it was the Finnish Independence Day. And so I sat down and made a video and just listed all the things that I like about Finland. And I never did one about my own country, why I love the United States of America. And so tomorrow, or in about an hour and a half from now, it will be the 4th of July, and it will be the Independence Day, the day that we Americans celebrate our independence. And so just as I did many years ago and talked about why I love Finland, and I was living in Finland, and it was on the day of independence, Finnish independence. Now I'm back home here in the States, and I wanted to do a video why I love the United States of America. So the first thing that I love about the United States is the freedom of speech. Now, when I say that, there's people who maybe laugh or scoff, especially knowing that there's a lot of censorship that goes on, and with Facebook and Google and people's accounts being taken down. And so it has got bad. I will absolutely admit that the censorship that's gotten, here in America, it is bad. And the freedom of speech that we had isn't quite like it was before. But we still do, for the most part, have freedom of speech. You can go online and you can post things about Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And unless you're making a threat, then they're probably not going to take your post down. Now, there are sensitive topics like COVID and things like that, and you'll probably get censored. But even then, there's other platforms where you can go and you wouldn't get censored. So we still do have quite a deal of freedom of speech. And you cannot say that about all countries. Even in countries where technically you do have freedom of speech, there's almost like a social norm where it's like just completely unacceptable to talk in a certain kind of way. And you would be a true exception. Whereas here, it's more accepting of people to share their opinions. And so that's kind of a second part of the freedom of speech. It's not just that we have it, but that we actually use it. And so in America, you will find discussions, and you will find podcasts, and you will find debates, and you will find people just in conversation, complete strangers, just talking about various issues and topics, and they will disagree, but they'll agree to disagree. And so that's one of the things I love about America, is that A, we do have the freedom of speech, and B, we actually use it. We actually have discussions and debate, and it's not just sort of on paper that we have freedom of speech. It's not just in theory. It's not just like it's there if you want to, but people are really using their freedom of speech here. And I overall think that it's a good thing. I am of the opinion that if you have a different opinion than me, then I still want you to have the right to share your opinion, even if I think your opinion is wrong, even if I think that even your opinion is from the devil himself. I don't want to live in a country where you cannot share your opinion, because that means if you can't share your opinion, then at some point I won't be able to share my opinion. So that is what one of the things that, in my opinion, makes us true Americans and true unique from many societies, is that we have the freedom of speech and we use it. So the other thing, second thing I want to mention, why I love the United States of America, is diversity. We are diverse, and we are a people of many nations, all in one nation, and we are people of many different colors and ethnicities and backgrounds. And you can somewhat say that about most countries in the world today, but America was truly founded on foreigners, and it wasn't just the white foreigners from England. I mean, we know that there were black slaves from Africa, but it wasn't even just them. The Chinese, the Scottish, the Mexicans. I mean, we are a big melting pot of society here, and you find all kind of people in all kind of places. And I love that. I love that we are diverse, and I love that being different is welcomed. I love that it's okay to be different, and that you can not have to worry necessarily about your safety or even getting a job because you maybe look different or have a different kind of name. Of course, there is discrimination here and racism, but I can tell you that I feel like it's still in a better situation overall compared to, I think, Europe in general. I think that we still have done a good job of making diversity welcome. However, yes, there is great room for improvement. And, some of that depends on specifically the area where you're talking about, the specific state or city or even part of the city. So it's not so black and white in terms of that it's diverse or it's not diverse, or it's welcome or it's not welcome. But I think in general, overall, we are a diverse people, and that's accepted in our society to be different, to have diversity. And I love that about America. The third thing I want to mention why I love the United States of America is because of the opportunity. You can literally come here with nothing and have no education, and you can literally become a millionaire. And that's not unrealistic. It's not impossible. I wouldn't even say it's improbable, depending on the person and what they're trying to do. But if you have a great business idea and you have a great work ethic, and if you are willing to take calculated risks, then you stand a great chance of being a successful entrepreneur. Or you can go to school and learn a trade or whatever. I mean, there's just so much opportunity here in America that even if you try one thing and it doesn't work out, you still have a lot of other things that you can try and do. And I just love knowing that I'm in a place where sooner or later I'm going to get successful and do something that's going to provide a great income for my family. When you're in a culture and an environment where that is prevalent, and people even encourage you and support you to become successful, that is something that I love about America, is that you are welcomed, encouraged to be successful, and no one looks down upon you because you're trying to be better than someone else, because it's not what that's about. However, you could take it that way. You could take it as, oh, he's trying to be better than the rest of us. But I think it's more accepted here that you are simply trying to better yourself and trying to provide a great livelihood for your family, and that you have a dream in your heart and you're just trying to see that dream come true. All of that is just more encouraged and it's more cultivated here in America. The fourth thing that I love about America is just the entertainment and the sports. I love entertainment and I love sports, and America has some of the best entertainment and sports here. It has some of the best live shows, the best basketball players in the world. Most of them end up coming to America to play. So whatever your sport is, there's a big stadium somewhere, probably where hundreds and thousands of people are gathering. And there's just all kinds of opportunity in that as well. If you want to be in the entertainment industry or sports industry, there's, again, a huge opportunity to either be directly in that or indirectly. So it's just a good atmosphere and good place for that. The fifth thing I love about America, which I sort of touched on when I talked about having freedom of speech and discussion, it's kind of a similar but slightly different point is just the openness, that people just in general are open in general. They're more open-minded. They're more open socially. They're more open to give people a try. I just love that people aren't so closed off and so narrow-minded and so just unwilling to listen to someone. The people in general are just more open here than in many countries where I've been, where I felt people were just more closed off and less interested to talk to a stranger, less interested to listen to someone of a different background or someone who has a different, philosophy of life. That, I'm willing to hear someone out, and I recognize that even though we probably aren't going to agree on everything, there might be something that you might say that could actually be enlightening to me. And it could even be possible that God is actually speaking to you, to me through you. So I always try to keep that in mind, that God might actually be trying to talk to me through someone without their even being aware of it. God spoke through a donkey in the Old Testament, and so he can speak through anyone. If he can speak through a donkey, he can speak through your friend, through your neighbor. He can speak through your doctor, through your boss, through your coworker, through your teacher, at the lady at the gas station, whoever. God can speak through anyone, and so I love that people are more open and willing to hear other people out. The next thing I love about America is the weather. Now, again, this is not at all a black or white thing. The weather is not the same in all parts of America. Florida is not the same as North Dakota. And so I think what I mean in general about the weather is this is where this kind of comes in some more to play of my long time experience living in Finland, where it was very cold and dark. The winters were very cold, very dark for 5-6 months almost. And so I enjoy living in a climate where winters aren't as long, the days are longer, and the nights are much shorter. That is just more conducive to me, and so I enjoy, and especially Indiana, where I'm from. It's actually kind of not a bad place to be, at least in terms of weather, because you go south to like Texas or Florida, it gets quite hot. And but then if you go really far north, like North Michigan or Maine, it can be quite cold, or Chicago, where it's right off the lake. That's why they call it the Windy City. So when you're kind of in the middle, the weather can be actually quite nice, and doesn't get too hot or too cold. And so the last couple of things that I want to mention why I love the United States of America, and there could be some other things that I just didn't think of. I just quickly jotted down a few things that I wanted to point out. But the last two things, perhaps the most meaningful, is first the churches. Some of the most powerful, anointed, amazing churches in the world exist here in the United States. Some of my favorite preachers are here in the United States. Matter of fact, I would say most of my favorite preachers are here in the United States. There's just so much that America has to offer spiritually. Now, again, that depends on exactly where you are in the country, but especially if you're anywhere in the Bible Belt, the southeastern region of the United States, then there's just a plethora of churches and ministries and Bible schools, and just so much that is here. And that is perhaps the biggest thing that I missed while living in Finland. It's just not on that level. There's not that amount of churches that are thriving and moving, and really, people are just really on fire. Yes, they exist in Finland and in other countries in the world, and depending on where you go, like if you go to Nigeria, well, that's a whole different situation there. I mean, that's probably even better spiritually. But I think in Europe in general is just not quite at the level where America is spiritually. Having said that, America is by far not perfect spiritually, certainly not. And there are churches that there's straight up cults that were founded and started in America and spread throughout the world. So yes, that is an issue and that does exist, but at the same time, there are some powerful churches that are really, really doing something for the kingdom. Bethel is an example. International House of Prayer is an example. A church that I like down in Florida that I've been following a bit, I think it's called Jesus Image. I just go on and on and on. Churches that are just doing so much for the kingdom, and it's just hard to find churches like that when you get outside the United States, especially in Europe. But again, they do exist outside the United States, and again, U.S. is not perfect, but again, the U.S. has so much to offer spiritually. It truly, truly does, and that's one of the things I truly love about America is that people are spiritual, and we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. And that's something that kids will say in school every morning, and they pledge allegiance, and they mention that under God. And there's places where you won't get that. The last thing I want to mention about America that's specific to me as an American, why I love America, and one big reason why I eventually decided to move back to America is simply because I have family here. I have a lot of cousins and second cousins and third cousins, and I have family literally all over the country. Most of them are in Indiana, but I do have some family in North Carolina. I have family in Florida. I have I'm quite sure I have family that I've never met in Kentucky, because my grandfather was born in Kentucky, and then my mother's side was also, they were originally basically from Kentucky, so I'm quite sure I have a lot of relatives in Kentucky. So I have a family here. You know, that's ultimately a big part of what life is about, is your family. So a lot that I had to say. My cat's getting active here, so maybe I have to go. But anyway, I hope this somehow helped you and blessed you, especially those of you who may be from outside the United States. Maybe you wonder why did James move back to America from Finland? And even those inside of America, one thing I have noticed is that a lot of people here in America seem to have forgotten how great their country is and have lost their love and their appreciation for their own country. And I think that's sad because America still is a great country. And I haven't given up at all on America. And I still believe that God is going to do still great things here in the United States of America. And I am glad to be, again, living here and calling America my home again. So I hope, again, this blessed you. Take care, and God bless America. Bye-bye.